Fractals are shapes that repeat infinitely. You create them by taking a shape and repeating it infinitely. Some examples of fractals in nature are trees, seashells, snowflakes, lightning, river, clouds, peacocks, crystals, and pineapples. Fractals are self-similar, which means if you split a fractal into parts, you would get smaller copies of the original fractal. The best way to describe how a fractal is made is by starting with one triangle. Just one triangle is not a fractal, but when you have smaller copies of the original shape, it becomes a fractal. Because it now becomes a pattern, you keep adding triangles on the sides of the smallest triangle like this. Now it is a fractal.
Now, let's look at some pictures of fractals found in nature. First, rivers. Now you may be thinking, how is a river a fractal? Well, it is a fractal because rivers tend to split into even smaller rivers, and those split into even smaller rivers. This is what it looks like. Next, trees. Now let's look at the tree. As you can see, the tree starts with one trunk and keeps splitting into even more branches. Next, snowflakes. Let's look at the picture of snowflakes. The fractal starts in the middle and it keeps repeating a certain pattern all the way to the end. Next, peacocks. Looking at the picture of the peacock, you can see that there are patterns on its feathers that look like eyes. The pattern keeps repeating up the peacock's feathers. Last, pineapple. The last nature example of fractals that we're going over is a pineapple. You can see on the skin of the pineapple that there are many bumps spread across the pineapple. That is the pattern that is repeated throughout the pineapple. There are many different types of fractals. The first fractal we are going over is called the Mandelbrot set. This is what it looks like. A Mandelbrot set is a set of points in a plane that self-replicates according to a predetermined rule. The Mandelbrot set was founded by Benoit Mandelbrot. Fractals were first given a definition by him, Benoit Mandelbrot. He came up with the word fractals, coming from the Latin term fractus, which means broken or fractured. Benoit is called the father of fractals, and he is from France.
The second popular type of fractal that we're going over is the Coke snowflake. How you make a Coke snowflake is by taking an equilateral triangle and then you put another equilateral triangle in the middle of each side. And you keep repeating this step an infinite amount of times. The perimeter is 3x, x being the length of one side, times 4/3, times 4/3, times 4/3. And keep doing this according to how many times you have repeated the step where you put a triangle on each side. The third fractal we're going over is called the Sierpinski triangle. This fractal starts as one triangle, and you keep zooming in. You would think it would get to a point where you just can't see the triangle anymore. Instead, more and more triangles appear. It does not matter how far you zoom in, you will always see triangles. This is what it looks like.
Another great fractal founder is Gaston Julia, and is known for creating the Julia set. Julia and Mandelbrot came together to come up with the generalized Fatu-Julia theorem. The Julia set is very complicated, so we're not going to go over it, but this is what it looks like. Now, here are some other fractals.
In conclusion, we have found out that we see and use fractals in our everyday lives, from eating them like pineapples and broccoli, to seeing them up in the sky like lightning and snowflakes, and even things that we had no idea were fractals like seashells and rivers. We also learned about all types of different fractals, like the Mandelbrot set, the Koch snowflake, the Sierpinski triangle, and the Julia set. Fractals were very fun and interesting to learn about, and I hope you guys learned a lot too. Thanks for watching. Please like this video.
Rivers tend to split into smaller rivers, and those split into even smaller rivers. This is what it looks like.
Go! Oh my gosh! That's a blooper. That was.
It is a fractal because rivers tend to split into. Stop messing it up!